Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Debbie and I'm a money coach and it's 7 o'clock on the East Coast and that means I've got a wonderful guest in the frugal, money saving and budgeting community. And today she's not only a guest, she's one of my dear friends. This is Angel from My Real Life Budget. Hi Angel, how
Hi
are you?
everyone. Hello. Hi, I'm good. I hope all of you are doing well tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, definitely. Want to tell everyone what your channel's about in case they're not familiar with it?
Oh, sure. So I've been documenting my journey to pay off debt since February 2019, and I've recently paid off my credit cards. I'm working on paying off my car now. Once I tackle that, it'll be student loans and then my house. So if you want to come along for the ride, click subscribe. I talk about it all.
Yeah, no, you're an open book. I love that. I love that. Like
Mhm.
I tell her all the time, there's like three channels that I always watch when I'm doing my budget, and two of them, your personality just comes through, and you just make budgeting fun. You really do, and
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I've got you and J Lo playing on
Yeah.
my budget. So today, I was actually inspired by your video. You did a great video about money mistakes, and I was like, oh my gosh, like we've all made mistakes, and we can all learn from each
Mhm.
other. And if there's anyone watching that's about to make a decision based on something that we've learned already, like what not to do, I'm hoping that we can help that person today. So, do you
Yeah,
want to start
definitely.
off with the first, or do you want me to?
Um, I just have one that was the biggest one that looking back after I made the video, I'm like, that was definitely, if I could have stopped that, that would have changed a lot early on. And that was thinking my credit limit was disposable income. I'd get
Mhm.
approved for a new 0% APR credit card and I'd be like, woohoo. And then
Yeah.
next, like, I'll pay it off, I'll pay it off. And the next thing I know, the promotion period's up and I have to pay a lot more than what I originally would have.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, don't do that. That was that was foolish.
Oh my gosh. For me, it was I was not educated at all back then when it came to credit cards. And I've told the story before, but my first time even looking at a card, it was my high school one of my good friends in high school, and her and I were going window shopping one day at the mall.
Hmm.
And next thing you know, she's got like jeans and a top and all this stuff, and I'm like money, like what she do? And she takes out her credit card, and so I'm all curious. I'm like, what's that? And then she goes, oh, this is so easy. She goes, you see this? And it was like about $100 worth of stuff. And she's like, I'm gonna $15 each month. And I was like, you're buying $100 worth of stuff and you're paying it off at $10, $15 each month. And she's like, yeah. I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's how they trick you.
Oh, oh yeah. So my first credit card, without, again, had no idea what interest was or anything back then, and it was 21%. And in New Jersey, it's 24% of interest is
Oh
the highest you
wow.
could do. So right from the get go, yeah, they got me real good. They got me real good with the first one. Yeah. And you always hear about, like, you should stay loyal with your credit cards. And so that I kept it up until 3 years ago when I finally was became debt free, and that was the highest credit card. That was my biggest debt with the highest interest.
Oh
That
wow.
that credit card had just as much of an interest rate on it. I mean, but if you took the debt and you took the interest, it actually almost equaled what I would have paid for my car loan. Like that's
Yeah.
because the interest was so
That's
high,
why
right?
I always say I don't even want to know how much I paid in interest over the years because like you've got to think about 12 years of paying interest on credit card
Mm-hmm.
debt, loan debt, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
even want to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. I like so for me, like my first money mistake when I was thinking about like us talking today about this, and obviously we're just gonna laugh along the way because we've all learned from our mistakes. But my
Hmm.
first one was definitely that credit card, and I thought I was like, I thought I was Santa Claus. Like I didn't even buy myself. I was like, oh, my mom got her this, and this one I can get him that. I was so generous, with that with
Yeah. That
plastic.
I mean, I
Mhm.
remember the very first transaction that I ever made on credit where I'm like, I don't have the money for this and I probably shouldn't. I think I
Mhm.
talked about it on one of the lives in Claire's and I bought like all these flowers for my hair and I'm like, oh, I'll pay it off. And then, something comes up and then more, it's just something always comes up. There's always something to be to prepare for unexpected things. That's something I've learned over the years.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Oh, we have some people watching. Vanessa, hi Vanessa,
Oh,
welcome.
hey, Vanessa. That's my girlfriend. Hey.
Oh, hi, welcome. I was gonna say
Thank you for
hi, but it's gonna
watching.
yes. And of course, we know Jan.
Hey,
Hi,
Jan.
Jan. And Kate. Hey, Kate. How are you?
Hello, Kate.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So my second one, so I was thinking, I was like, okay, what's the next thing? I this is like I feel like there's something inside us when we're about to make a bad decision. Do you ever get that? That
Oh, yeah.
screams at you. That screams
I
at
know
you.
exactly what you're saying. Yes.
So so when I when I was in my previous relationship, um, he wasn't good with money, and I thought I was, and I had credit. So at that point, I was doing much better than I did towards the end. But he said to me one day he wanted to get a new car, and I was like, hey, you get yours. I had mine. My used one. I was fine. So he says, can you pick me up at the car dealership? So I said, yeah, of course. So I go to pick him up, and he said to come in. So I go in, and they asked me to sign. I'm like, why am I signing when it's his car? Oh, because his credit wasn't good enough for it. So he wanted to put it under my name. And right in front of the rep, I was floored because I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I'm like, what? And he's,
Hmm.
he's like, oh, I promise, I'm gonna take care of the car. Everything inside me was screaming, don't do it. And it was just, I don't know why. I wasn't thinking. I was like, I'm being a good wife, and I grabbed that pen and I
Hmm.
regretted it for years because that
Yeah.
was the beginning of my credit rating sinking. Because of course he didn't pay for it. I
Yep.
was responsible for
Yep.
my bills, but now I've got a truck. It wasn't even a car. I'm
Yeah.
like, if
That's a
you can
lot.
avoid paying for signing or being a co-signer on a loan, do it. Like, try it as much as possible. Obviously, it depends on your circumstances. But if I could
Yeah,
go
of
back in
course.
time and not grab that pen, I would have been like, oh, I thought you needed a ride. I'll wait for you outside.
Yeah. Yep. Hindsight is 2020, right? Hey, Jan.
Oh my God, Jan! That's my first. She is
That's
the
your first
sweetest.
one?
That's my first one. Oh my gosh, Jan just did it. I'm not saying. Oh,
Oh,
she's so
how
sweet. Super
exciting.
chat. I love you, Jan. I'm trying not to cry. That is the sweetest thing.
That
Okay.
is. Jan's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Jan. Okay.
Jan, you threw off her game with that.
I know. I forgot what I was saying. She's so sweet. Oh, she's. I
Aw.
love you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, so sweet. Okay, so so I collect myself. You
Well, I guess I could relate to that story in a sense that I
know?
co-signed with an ex-partner for his car and the house that I'm in now, which that I need to make a whole video on that situation. But I did, and when we decided to end the relationship, it was like, okay, you need to figure out what you're gonna do with this car. And he ended up having to refinance under his name. But the whole reason that I co-signed was because he didn't have the credit on his own. And I'm like, well, you need a car, you have your job. He was in school at the time. And it was just such a I always say to people, like, don't ever co-sign, even if you're married, even if it's your kids, because my mom co-signed for my first, not my first, but my first big girl car that I bought by myself. And she ended up having to take over payments for a while so that her credit wouldn't be affected. And co-signing is a huge responsibility. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's something maybe I didn't really understand, but I should have.
Mm-hmm. I used to do. I used to be. I can't. Jan's affected me. Sorry. Before I did family law, I used to be a paralegal many years ago for bankruptcy, and I learned a
Hmm.
lot there, and that I wish I knew now. Like, but that I wish I knew when I was making my mistakes back then.
Hmm.
But one of them is student loans are not dischargeable, and
Yeah.
so that's one of the things that, like, not that I don't know if I would sign for my kids. It's early for me to say like I will or won't. Like, I don't want to say
Hmm.
something and then take it back. but we want to avoid it at all costs because I definitely, we're focusing on helping them, but at the same time, I don't ever want to be a burden on them, like when it comes time
Yeah.
to retire, and neither does my husband. And because we both were financially responsible for our family, like for our parents when they got older.
Hmm.
So we don't want to have that burden on them. So our focus is we help them, but we also do our retirement accounts too. Again, we just want to be able to retire and never be a burden on them financially. But signing was something I came across when I did a lot of bankruptcy, when I did the bankruptcy law. People don't realize like what actually entails. Like they don't realize that if the person who is the first name on the loan, if they stop paying, you are legally responsible for
Yep.
the balance of the loan. It's not even like some people came to us and they would be like, well, I took out a car loan, let's say it's 20,000. Many people when they decided to do a consultation for bankruptcy, they would say, well, I'm only responsible for 10, and we'd be like, no, you're responsible for the whole thing. Also, if both
Hmm.
on a credit card, same thing. It's not split
Yep.
in half. It's not your charges, my charges. If one person doesn't do it, the other person's responsible for it. And
That's right.
again, student loans, and debt are the two. Medical bills used to also be non-dischargeable, but I think that changed
But
in New
they are
Jersey.
now. I think it, oh,
I
okay.
think they
I was
are
gonna
now.
say in
Yeah,
Pennsylvania, I think they are, but I'm not 100% sure.
they weren't then. They weren't back, but I believe that
Hmm.
they are now. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
but oh my gosh, if I could go back in time and be like, don't grab that pen, because of course when everything fell
Hmm.
apart, like who was responsible for that loan but me and that
You,
truck
right.
in my driveway. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
that big truck didn't even drive. I was so dumb. But anyway,
We've all been there in some way.
I tell you, that's why it's like if we can help anyone avoid those mistakes,
Yeah,
by all means. Oh, Kate, yeah, it's my first. I'm so excited.
that is so
I told
exciting.
her she did it for chat. She's so sweet. Oh my gosh. Oh, Jan's like, sorry. Don't you say sorry. You're like the best. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Um, Validation loans. I wanted to talk to you about that because that was part of that video that you did as well. And then and
Oh,
so
yeah.
I came across that. I did a consultation for a client. Um, she were talking about her credit card debt, and she had just gone through her second consolidation loan. And we were talking about money mindset because I said to her, like, if you don't fix like your mindset when it comes to money, you already went through the first consolidation loan where you wiped out your credit card debt, but all those credit cards had a zero balance. So now you're paying off this loan, which hopefully the interest rate isn't as high as credit cards, but in most cases, from what I've read, it is. Because I did a little research since I knew her question and I was going to consult with her.
Hmm.
And so then she did it again. So she had two loans pretty much at the same time, and now all the credit cards once again had a zero balance on them. So that's when she finally said, you know what, I need a money coach. So she reached out to
Hmm.
me. But my thing is like, my gosh, like what a trap that is. Don't you, like
It
what a trap
is.
it is. So I
And
wanted
they
to see if
trap
you wanted
you.
to talk about it.
Well, yeah, of course. That was something when I remember when I first started the channel, I was kind of afraid to talk about it, but now I kind of whatever.
Mhm.
I consolidated so many times, like 5 or 6
Did you?
times, maybe more.
Wow.
Yeah, I consolidated a lot.
Okay.
And it started
Mm-hmm.
small. Like the overspending was small. I averaged it out and everything. On average for 10 years, I overspent by $275 a month. And that
Okay.
was just on like nonsense little things here and there, or maybe a big
Mm-hmm.
purchase where I was doing good and then boom, had a big purchase of something I wasn't saving for. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, with the consolidation loans, what I realized, I still get offers in the mail all the time for different loans with different rates and things like that. But when I was still paying the cards off, I was still getting offers for consolidating. And you don't realize how much more money you're adding on to the life of your debt when you consolidate, when you like say, yes, I'm going to agree to paying it off. Maybe it's a 3 or 5 year period.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably do it quicker on your own without the consolidation loan. And like me, or it sounds like with that particular client, it was like once the credit cards were wiped clean, I was like, oh, I could breathe. I could afford my payment now. But then it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be long before I had to couple $100 balance on one or two or three of the cards, and then next thing I know,
Mhm.
they're like all maxed out. And this was like a process, a cycle of years and years of doing these same things over and over, and like, okay, I'm going to
Mhm.
change, I'm going to do it this time. It's almost like an addiction, like a spending money addiction, for me,
Mhm.
that you have to like talk yourself out of. But that's why I was getting the consolidation loans, because I couldn't stop spending. I couldn't stop putting money on the credit cards. And then I'm like, oh, I can't afford the payment. Let me consolidate.
Mhm.
Shame on the companies for letting me, approving me that many times for a consolidation loan, when
Yes.
it's like clearly you're just in this cycle of consolidating, charging. But at the end of
Mhm.
the day, as long as they're making money, it's sign on the
It
dotted
doesn't
line.
matter.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter. When I was going through my divorce, and it was all of a sudden I go from two incomes to one income in this house I couldn't afford, and I was trying to keep it for the kids. Like I went into like mode, and it wasn't at all like
mhm.
thinking about money or anything. It was like I'm
Yep.
protecting my kids. I'm gonna do everything I can to keep this house, which I never liked, which was too big, and I never liked it at all. I was heating to see me. How pathetic is it? So not pathetic, but you know what I mean. It was one of those
Mhm.
vaulted ceiling houses. It wasn't me at all. Like if you look at my home, this is my home. I chose this home along with my husband now, but
Yes.
it was this house I didn't like. I couldn't afford it. I wanted it to protect the kids. And that's where my credit card debt came from. That plus a car loan was my $48,000 that my husband and I paid off in 2 years. Thank God. And it was just this mentality of just like protecting them. I wasn't at all looking at the numbers. And
Mhm.
I'm finding that a lot of people that I talk to about money, is a lot of it is emotional. Like it's mindset and it's emotional what got you there in the first
Yep.
place. And I'm finding it so fascinating. Like when I talk to people, like people that grew up with nothing, which was me. Like I only got presents on Christmas and my birthday. It wasn't at all like at no point, I got like an ice cream cone if I did good in grades in school. Like it wasn't like I had anything. But sometimes when people come from that kind of household, they actually get into like this scarcity mindset is what they call it. So they
Uh-huh.
want to be like, oh well, I don't know when I have money again, so I better buy two of this. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
and and it's like they grab onto things so tightly, and they next thing you know they're drowning in debt because of it. So
Yeah.
so like having one consolidation loan and then one, it's shame on the banks for approving it, absolutely, but
Mhm.
also when
Mhm.
it comes to consolidation, it's like a part of me wants to be like, well, why do the credit cards have to be at a zero? Like if you think bankruptcy, like your credit cards are no longer available to you. Like it's the
Mhm.
debt is discharged, but those cards are canceled. Like you can't go and
Right.
start it all over again. You have to go and reapply for credit cards to do that. You know what I mean? But it's funny
Mhm.
how you consolidate all of a sudden it's like, yeah, they're available. Another thing that I find is as the closer that we got to paying credit cards, the more credit card offers we were getting in the mail. Have you noticed that?
Yes, when I paid off that first card, Debbie, the every
Mhm.
day there was a new credit card offer or a personal
Yeah.
loan offer, and I'm like, "No, I don't
Mhm.
want anything." I thought I removed myself from the list. But
I've removed myself from the list. I can't tell you how many times. And like I'm a paycheck budgeter, so I budget every 2 weeks,
mhm.
and I have 4 or 5 of them just on my name alone. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm not
Yeah,
opening it.
I know.
I'm not
I think
I'm
of,
not
like,
gonna
my dad, he would get mail
Mhm.
like that, and he would, like, return it to the sender and, like, put, like, stop sending. And when I think about it, sometimes I'm like, "That's what I wanna do with these with these offers."
Good one. Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna try it. Oh my gosh, no. So, like, when did you realize that like consolidation loans was obviously detrimental to you? Like, what was that moment when you realized like
That
they
it was a
got me, like
problem.
they got me? Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I always knew that I had a problem with overspending and definitely using my credit cards, but it took when
Mm-hmm.
I left this house and left my ex-partner and I moved into an apartment on my own. I ended up going back into Wells Fargo to try to get a
Mm-hmm.
consolidation loan, and the rep just kept saying, "You have this home. we have equity in your home. And I'm like, I don't live there. It's not even my home. Like, I didn't know what was going on with it. I'm like, I'm living by myself. Like, I
Mhm.
just want a consolidation loan for this credit card debt because I'd pay all my bills and have like $45 left until my next paycheck. And that was for
Mhm.
gas, for groceries, for whatever I
Mhm.
wanted to do with my friends because I was young and single at that time.
Mhm.
So I would use my credit cards. So when I realized I couldn't get a consolidation loan with a payment that I could afford, I realized like I really needed to try to do something. So it started with cutting expenses, and I went through and I did that reverse budget. I went through 3 months of expenses, 3 months of all my bank statements, every credit card that I had. I printed out 3 months of the statements, and I went through and I said,
Mhm.
okay, I need to look at what I'm actually spending my money on. And when I went through it, I didn't think it was that bad. Like
Mhm.
$1,500 a month for 3 months average. There were months where I spent more than 1,500. I was like, how am I doing this? Like, how? And I was, buying candy for my coworkers when they'd hit a big goal. I always wanted to say, I appreciate you. You did a great job. I loved doing it, but it was every week, $60 a week I was spending on bringing candy in. And I thought, oh my God, I have to stop doing this. And just little things, going to the bar with my friends for drinks or going out to eat. My gym membership, I lived in the gym back then. So I always had a gym membership, but I actually used it. I got my money's worth. My yoga, I would pay, I think at the time it was $75 a month for unlimited yoga, plus whatever it was for my gym membership. So like I was spending a lot of money on all of this stuff I thought I could afford, but then because I was overspending for so long, I just couldn't. So that when I realized you can't even get approved for a consolidation loan, the payment's too high, even if you wanted it,
Mhm.
I just knew I had to like go through and really make a change. But that was back in October of 2018. And I didn't start my channel until February of 2019. And so from that time, I ended up getting the house back and um, starting the channel. So when I started the channel, I was kind of already getting into that mindset. I wish I would
Mhm.
have been able to start it before where I was like,
Me too.
yeah, this doesn't seem possible at all. I have no idea how I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
But I think something just clicked in me where I said, I don't care if it's possible. I just know that I know that I know I can't keep living like this anymore. So I just got to
Yeah.
a point where I'm like, I can't, I just had enough.
Mhm. Mhm. I had you just made me remember another one. I had a used car, and it was like the most beat up used car. It looked like a Flintstone mobile. Almost. Like I had to like lift it up and like walk to work. It was that close. I knew it had an engine. I don't think it worked all the time, but it was like that's a jam. And then finally it came out, and I didn't have money up. I still was paying that high interest credit card,
Hmm.
and so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna walk into this car dealership and I'm gonna get a new car. So I find out in the Kias when the Kias first came out. Nothing against Kias, but when the Kias when they first came out, and I'm like, wow, they didn't even ask me for like my pay stub. They
Oh,
didn't ask me to do
wow.
anything. I was I was like, wow, like they trust me, and I'm gonna make these payments, and
Hmm.
and then I get my first payment, and it's like 500. I want to say 525 a month. Like I
Hmm.
was I was making like $600 like a paycheck. So one paycheck was almost entirely for my car. One paycheck was almost entirely for the insurance. Like I worked for
Yeah.
like 4 years to drive. And in my mind, I'm like, I've got this car, I've got this great job, like I'm doing good. That was before like I looked at numbers. And then I realized like my friends wanted to go out, and I'm like, oh, I can't afford it. But I'm
Hmm.
I was driving
Yeah.
them. I'm driving them. Like, oh, can you drive me there and pick me up? Like the free
Yeah,
taxi,
that's
and I couldn't afford to walk in and get a meal. Like I was like, what was I thinking? But sometimes when
hmm.
again when you don't know what you're doing, when you don't know what you're just, I mean, I can't even fathom like looking at that paperwork, which I know I still have somewhere, and seeing like the interest rate I was paying on that car. I think at
Oh,
the end I could have
Debbie.
bought two. I could have bought two.
When
I was
I went through, I think I
like,
put it in that video how much I ended up paying on that that car that I bought, it was like double.
Mhm.
It was like $28,000. It was something crazy. And I thought, oh my God, for this little Chevy Cobalt that, I got 8 good years out of her, but oof,
Mhm.
I could have, like, looking at it, I was just, and I really need to like write a book just about that whole car experience in general and the stuff I learned from that experience, and then buying the car that I have now because I still got huckle buffed on that
Mhm.
car, although I thought I didn't. I was like going in there with knowledge this time, and they still they still got me.
Oh my god! I still remember that car. It was. You're bringing me back. It was a Kia
Mhm.
Sophia, and it was. I think it was only around for like a year. No one had heard of it. I'm gonna cry. I'm laughing so hard, and I love having you.
Thank you.
And
I love being
it
on.
had no. Oh my gosh, I love having. And it had no alarm. It had no alarm. I actually had to put the key in and turn it, so like I had like.
Oh my
I'm like, I have
gosh.
a new car, but I can't afford the alarm.
The funny, the funny thing was, my very first car, my dad bought it for me, and it was a 2001 Mercury Mystique, very similar to the Ford Contour, and it was
Okay.
silver. And I was like, "This is an old man car." I wanted to be cool, I wanted to be trendy, I wanted to be on point. And here I am in this Mercury
Mhm.
Mystique driving to school with like my gothic eyeliner, like, but when I look back, Debbie, that car had leather seats, it had power windows and locks, it had a sunroof, and it had the fancy like marble dashboard. Like, he bought me a nice car, and I was too, "Oh, that's not good enough for me to see." He bought me a nice car.
my my Kia Sophia that I was paying $500 for. Oh my gosh! Sorry. Between Jan Super Chat and this lab, I'm gonna like be like, it didn't even have our windows.
And you had the crank windows. Oh my
I
Oh
was
my
like, I
God.
can't. Credit. That was another thing. They didn't show me proof. They didn't ask for proof of income, and I had no credit. I only had that one credit card, and they were like, "Oh,
And they were
approved."
like, "Oh,
Like they made me pay
approved."
$2. I was like, "This is."
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Let me get some comments here. We're laughing so hard. Oh, facts, Debbie. That's right, facts. Thank you, Vanessa. Financial education should start in elementary school. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, I
yes, yes,
agree.
it should. Um, I feel like I say it with every time we're talking about that topic, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, sorry, she's late. Hi, Beth.
Oh, hey,
Let me
Beth.
see. Vanessa's laugh
Thank you for
along.
laughing with us, Vanessa. Vanessa and I work together, so we're always laughing together. She knows.
Oh, that's sweet. I'm so glad she's here. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for
Oh my
coming,
gosh,
Vanessa.
yeah, that Kia Sophia. My gosh, I tell you, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It had clothes. The radio, the radio would go and it would change color. And that's all I knew about my car.
Oh yes. I it didn't have a CD player, mine, so I like took it out and made one of my friends put a CD player in for me, and I think that's what killed it, because after that, the alternator
Mhm.
went 3 times. So I should have just let it be, but I needed my tunes, Debbie.
Mhm. You're like priorities.
Yeah, priorities, exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So you've already paid off your first credit card, and I know like you announced it on my channel, and I was so happy to have you on,
Mhm.
and then I saw
Mhm.
you share it with your audience. And so like how does it feel now? Like what would you do different? Obviously everything we've mentioned, but as far as your credit cards and paying it off, like how does it feel to finally be like moving on and like starting something new?
It it felt like at first I was really like, I'm credit card debt free, like feeling fabulous. But then it's
Mhm.
like the temptation, Debbie, is like, oh, you've been doing
Okay.
so good. This is how I know for me, like it's a bit of a problem, the spending for me, because I'm an emotional spender. So, if I'm feeling stressed out, or if I'm maybe not feeling super appreciated, what I want to do, let me go hit up TJ Maxx. What do they
Mhm.
got on sale? Let me go see, but that's not
Mhm.
good for me. So
Mhm.
it's realizing like when I'm in those spaces to give myself the space, like perhaps in nature, or going to take Xavier or playing. We've been outside, like I said, these last couple days has been so nice, like redirecting my attention to
Yes.
not thinking about buying stuff or shopping or, just
Mhm.
spending money in general. Like, what can we do here? But
Mhm.
I also feel like a pressure on my channel to just keep hitting the next mile, like boom, 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 boom. But I know me, and I know I need to
Mhm.
be, I'm a Libra. If I'm not in balance, girlfriend, look out. So if I'm not balanced, I can't be so, so, so tight with the budget that it's like, okay, we're eating ramen and Taco Bell. I have to put money in there for my press-ons when I'm feeling like I want to be a little glamorous, or I need to put some money in there for a
Mhm.
pizza night because girlfriend's not cooking after she worked 12 hours. Like, it's,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
need to
12
do those
hours. Oh my
things.
gosh.
It's
12
not all the
hours.
time, but some
No,
days, and during
you
peak
got me.
maybe,
You got me
but
with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like pizzas they're my friends. But it's just keeping the money in
Mhm.
that budget. And lately at work, I've been eating out a lot as well. So that's something I should cut back because I think I got a little like, oh, paid off the credit cards. I'm gonna get lifestyle creep.
Mhm.
That's happening to me.
Yeah.
I'm currently going through
Yeah.
lifestyle creep, everyone.
Real. It's real.
It
It
is.
is real. I see it all the time with my friends. I see it all the time with my friends. I actually like. It's so funny. Like now that I started money coaching, I'm getting calls from friends from other
Mm-hmm.
states that I stayed in touch with. So my friends, shout out to you, Sabrina. I know you're watching. So, so Sabrina calls me up the other day. She's like, I got a $300 increase in my pay, and I want to upgrade my car. She's like, talk me out of it. I was like, all right, let's go, let's go. Like, well, like, what? How much are you have in debt? How much this? How much you have that? And we went through it. And she was like, all right, you just killed my dream. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, but lifestyle creep, it's real.
Yeah,
It's
it's
real. Like
such a
she's
real
so
thing.
focused. She's so focused on paying things off. She's had her mind like set for the future and being credit card debt free, get building up an
Mm-hmm.
emergency fund for a whole year. She's been on it. Every she'll text me being like, "I did this." I'm like, "Good girl, good girl." And all of a sudden, she got that bump in pay, and there it went, like creep. They're like,
Yeah.
"What else can I do?" Like, I can continue paying off my debt, still bump up my car, and I'm like, "Don't do that. Don't
Mm-hmm.
do that." Yeah,
Yeah.
real. It's definitely real. Oh my gosh. I knew someone who took a Dixie cup and put all her credit cards in it except for her ATM card and put water in it and froze it and put a line on it. That's like
I froze mine in
breaking some
Tupperware.
emergency.
Yeah. I froze mine in a bowl of Tupperware water before.
You
I
did?
was like, yeah, because I didn't want to shred them because I didn't have an emergency fund. So I was like, well, if I put them in a bowl of water and freeze them, if I absolutely need it for an emergency, I could just thaw them out. But that was one
Mm-hmm.
of the best things, like just getting rid of them in general. I've been experimenting with trying to use them for things, and I'm like, nope, nope, this isn't for me anymore.
I saw a video. You did a great video on that. You did a great video on that. I really
Yeah,
liked it because you're so honest. That if you guys aren't with Angel's channel, please go check her out. I'm leaving all her links down below.
thank
She's
you.
she's honest as honest can be, and her content is addicting. Honestly, you will just go video after video after video. She's awesome. But when I saw that video, I was like, how honest can you be? Absolutely. Like you were like, I tried it and it's not working for me. So you're
Hmm.
readjusting. But something great too. It's like like when you fall off, like when you overspend on something, whether like you just said, like you're eating out more at work, having that mentality to know like what I did, was against like
Hmm.
I've set for myself, and you're holding yourself accountable, and now you know it to readjust for the next paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Knowing that is to prevent you from ever getting back to where you were, and that's awesome. That's such growth, and that's one of the
it
things I
is.
love about your
Yeah.
channel.
That honestly,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably my favorite thing about my channel because I get to look back and see, even though like I wish I could have documented like when I was a train wreck, and but I'm glad I couldn't,
Me too.
because
Me
I'm like,
too.
I don't think I
Yes.
want that on the internet. But but now like I see it and I'm like, wow, like it's
Mm-hmm.
possible, like the change is possible. So like I hope that if anything, I can help inspire people that it doesn't matter how bad you are with your money or how much you're overspending or how defeated you feel. I really think that if I could do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. I say it all the time. I have $48,000 of debt. We have three kids. Like it's not, like the more kids, the more expensive, the older they
Oh my
get. And that's
God.
without spoiling
Yeah.
them. And that's without spoiling them. Like they know they're not getting anything unless it's Christmas or their birthday. Like that, I'm the same way. Like my mom was, frugal. But at the same, it's just the needs, like the
Hmm.
extracurricular activities, the clothing, the shoes, everything else, and everything comes with them, and they're magnificent. Obviously, I would never change a thing. But if I could do it with kids and two incomes in 2 years, like that's what I want to. I want to like reach through the screen and be,
Yes.
like you can too, you can too, and there are channels like you, like it's so inspiring because and some people feel so defeated, especially when they keep making the same mistake
Hmm.
or when living paycheck to paycheck. Like that's a topic like I've been covering a little bit lately is like how to get out of it, it can be
Hmm.
defeating, but by keeping a positive mindset and watching channels like yours, like it'll change outlook and it'll inspire you to make changes that'll really take your finance to another level.
Yeah, it really does. Like that, when
Hmm.
I started to find different channels to show me different things I could try. And some of the stuff didn't work
Hmm.
for me, but some of the stuff did, and the stuff that did, I stuck with. Some of the stuff I've had to change. Like for me, it's not just one way. Like it's not just I do it the
Yeah.
same way every single time. It's kind of like I
Mhm.
play it by ear, you know? I kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things they mentioned before brought me back to when I was going through my divorce and I was putting everything on credit cards, like the
Hmm.
groceries and everything I possibly could on credit cards, and I was sinking more and more in debt. But I wasn't looking at the numbers then. I was like an ostrich. The head was in the ground and the butt was
Hmm.
sticking.
Yeah, that's how
And
I
I was
was.
like,
I didn't want to know. I
you know,
knew, but I didn't want
even
to look at it.
yeah, I was in survival mode at that moment, so I
Yeah.
couldn't even think of looking at because I was just barely getting by emotionally too because it's so tolling trying to protect the kids and just like again survival mode, getting out of a bad situation.
Hmm.
One of the times that I was devastated was my credit card. I went to make a payment on a bill and put it on a credit card because you could do that more than you can now, and they actually dropped my credit limit by 10,000. And at that point, I just felt so desperate because I'm like, what? How can they possibly do that? How can they do
Yeah.
that? And in
Yeah.
retrospect, obviously, it was the best thing they could have done because I would have been $10,000 deeper in debt. But
Hmm.
back then, when you said like it was your emergency fund, that's your extra cash flow,
Right. Right.
you know? Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
to look back at where we were and where we are now, it's just it's awesome.
It's
Honestly, like I'm
it
so happy
really
for
is.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Same. Likewise for you. Like,
Yeah.
look at all the awesome things you've been able to do just even recently with your channel and the coaching and everything. I feel like we're setting we're setting maybe like an example for people, because like that's why I'm so honest,
Hmm.
because I want people to know like it's okay. Don't hate yourself for it, because I hated myself for years. That's why I stayed in the situation I stayed in. Like I
Hmm.
couldn't understand, like, why do you do this? Why do you overspend? And not everyone's in debt for that reason, but I know a lot of people who are.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
it's hard
Yeah.
sometimes to hold yourself accountable and like pull your head out of the sand hole and look and see what you've been doing, because like you're not gonna change it unless you actively try to make that change. It's not just gonna happen overnight. And that's where I would think like, oh, someday, oh, someday. But that day was never
Hmm.
today, until I actually like
Yeah.
made it, made it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I say it all the time. The day that my husband and I sat down and we looked at our numbers, and I realized like I can numbers, like I can drop these expenses, I can make phone calls. Like I knew like when just by looking at it, like something deep inside told me like no, you can fix this. You can fix this.
Hmm.
That moment propelled me to here. Like it's so empowering when you finally take ownership of what you've done, whether
Yes.
again survival mode or mindset that got you to where you are. Like instead of feeling guilty from a place of shame, like
Hmm.
empower yourself, like take control
Yeah,
of it, look at your
exactly.
numbers, and then from there see what you can do to lower your expenses, free up more available income to you so that is powerful, because then that can help you attack your debt. It can help you establish an emergency fund. It can help you move forward to having like an account fund, like you were saying, because you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
feel too constricted,
Yeah,
But at first,
exactly.
like when you have to throw everything at but the kitchen sink at it, like it'll motivate you when you see change. Really, it all starts by looking at numbers. So
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I'm loving like starting my business and being a money coach. I honestly am, because it's like, first of all, it's the first thing I've done for me, channel, and
Yeah,
that I'm proud. But I'm helping people. And I wish I
right.
would have known, like you said, no, like what we know now
Yeah.
back then,
Yeah.
or had someone on your side that can help you. Like, and that's why I love being a money coach. Honestly, I really do. And just, I think we do that with our channels also. Like, I really do. It's free
Mm-hmm.
content, and it really helps people as well. So I don't know. But going to Jan's comment, financial education should start in school. Like, I do believe that. I believe that, I know Xavier is 2 years old. You're adorable.
Right.
Oh my gosh, having two teenagers, it really does show you like how lacking high school education is sometimes. Like, it really is. Like, they don't know what a credit card is. They don't know what an interest rate is. They don't know like anything at all, because I mean, they know because
Mm-hmm.
I taught them. But if it's not reinforced in school, like then I'm like the charter teacher, after a while, like talking again and
Right.
again about, you need a budget, you need this. I'm like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but they have such respect for their teachers. Like, their teachers, they're constantly, so and so said this and this and that. And I'm like, if what we teach our kids at home was reinforced at school, we would have a lot less kids going into student loan debt, especially for an education that they're not using their degree for.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, and if I know, like, if in high school I knew what a Roth IRA was, like, so many would retire and be millionaires.
Debbie,
But
I
it's
need
purposely
to
done. I really feel like it's purposely done. I know,
it,
I
it
know, I
is.
know. I'm
I
gonna
need
get
to
off
tell
track for a
you
minute.
about my dad, what he taught me at 18. Like my dad, Debbie, I did not get along with my dad whatsoever. And like the older I get, the more I see the things he tried to teach me, and I was just an entitled, ungrateful kid. He tried to teach
Mhm.
me about opening an IRA, and he said, take $1,000, you can
Mhm.
open it, you can put, from your first job. And I said, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But everything else was more important, like concert tickets, the clothes, going out with my
Mhm.
friends, whatever. And now here I am all these years later. Like, could you imagine if I would have done that when I was 18 and took his advice and did that?
Yeah.
But I was just
Mhm.
too
But
like too young.
but I'll flip the coin on you. I'll flip the Imagine if, when God was saying that to you, your favorite teacher at school was saying the same thing,
Well,
right?
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that, I'm trying to drill it in as much as possible. So hopefully they don't make like, again, going back to our topic, hopefully they don't the same money mistakes that we have. So
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
again, I can't tell you, I appreciate having you on. This is just a topic I couldn't wait to talk about. Once I saw your video, I was like, Angel, like, you gotta come on.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about.
Well, yes,
Oh
thank you
my
for having
goodness.
me.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, hi Penny.
Oh,
She,
hi, Penny.
oh,
You were just on Penny's
she's so
Penny's
sweet.
live.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
thanks,
I was just on
Jan.
Penny's on Saturday. Oh my gosh. No. Well, again, thank you so much for being on, and your honesty. Again, Angel, she's amazing. Please go check out her
Thank
channel. I'm
you.
gonna link it down below. And if you guys would like to talk to me about Money Coach, I'm off a free 30-minute consultation. I'll leave the link to my calendar down below. Feel free to email me or make an appointment, and we can talk. And I'd love to see how I can help you. So, again, thank you so much. A big hug.
Thank you. Yes,
We're only
virtual
in the
hugs,
States, so I have a
everyone.
big hug. All right. Well, thanks so much for everyone watching live and everyone watching on the replay. You guys have a great day. And again, please go check out Angel. Thanks so much for coming.
Oop, bye.
Bye.